Hi YouTube, welcome to Pagan Perspective. This is Megan, aka Spiritary. Today is Friday, and this week's topic is all about when you lose the spark, right? So the idea or the question is all about, well, how do you continue to grow in your faith, in your practice, when maybe you doubt it or things get rough, right? And so that's sort of what I got out of this question, and and I think that I definitely can speak to this. Um, I think the difference, though, for me is that I never feel like my faith goes away. I never feel like there's any part of my faith that isn't there 100% always. Do I sometimes not do, really intense rituals? Sometimes I'll just do my own personal meditations instead of doing big, elaborate rituals. There are times in which, I won't do anything for a holiday, right? Other than doing, my own personal, internal prayer, meditation, Thanksgiving, if you will, right? We called it before we were talking about the whole idea of worshiping, right? And for me, it's more about reverence, right? So I think for me, I look at it as a natural cycle, sort of an ebb and flow, right? I think that some people think that you have to be the best pagan out there, right? Like you have to be all or nothing, just hardcore. And you need to go into this with all of this gusto, and you can never let up and live a life, basically, that you have to be the uber witch, right? Who's wearing the perfect clothes all the time and doing these crazy rituals and always doing more and more and more. So for me, I don't really look at it as needing to do more, because for me this is my religion, and yes, it's my practice, but at the same time, for me, it's just my religion. Like, I already know what there is to know. And yes, there are certainly aspects that I could do more if I was so inclined, but it's my religion. So it's not something that I feel like I need to become more proficient at something or I need to do more things. The only thing that I have been working on is just making sure that that I'm trying to get as much done in the large family book of shadows that I have, for the intention of passing on to children. So I wanted something, I wouldn't say dramatic. Maybe that's the right word. Maybe dramatic, but I wanted something more exciting, I guess, to look at than just words. I wanted to really put so much in that I felt like a lot of oral tradition that was passed on that wasn't written down. I want to make sure that that gets written down. I also want to include a lot of information. I want it to be a tool, a textbook. So, I want to include information about the burning times. I want to include information about what's happening now and what I've done in my lifetime. And so I really want to make that book really amazing and just a wonderful thing to pass down in a much, I guess, a grander form. I guess you could say that. So that would be something that I've been pushing myself to kind of do better on, and to grow more. But just because, so little time, I mean, it's, with the sticker shop and full-time work and and now roller derby. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody heard of roller derby? That's what I'm doing now. I've fallen a lot. Fallen a lot, and but I mean, I think it's just amazing and fun. It's a wonderful group of women, and I've been having a blast. So yeah. But yeah, I just think that for me, it's your religion. And so there's going to be a natural, rising of the tide, right? The tide's going to come in where you're going to be really into it, and maybe you're going all out, and then the tide will go back out. And maybe, you really limit kind of the big extravagant rituals and things like that, and you keep it simple and you keep it homey and personal, right? I just feel like there's no reason for, just because the tide comes in, it has to stay in, right? It's a natural flow back and forth. And everything sort of comes full circle, right? And yeah, there's going to be things that I do bigger, right? So, in years past, I have done Samhain dinner gatherings for friends that are really big. I've had close to 20 people at my house for these big dinners, and I go all out, right? With like over 13 dishes, right? And then, this past year we had one friend over, right? And, we just did a small ritual, my wife and this friend, and that was it. And that's all we did. And it was beautiful. And it was just as special as the big one, right? It's just, we do what we can. And I think that's the biggest message, because I think this message is probably something that we all need to hear in life, not just in our faith. And that is, you are doing the best you can right now. So I talk a little bit about my job on this channel. I have. So I'm a therapist, in particular dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT. And one of the first, we call it assumptions, right? Because when you begin a DBT program, you want everybody to be on the same page. And so we call it, these are the assumptions we're going in with. And the reason it's an assumption is because even if there's no proof, even if there's nothing, no convincing, we are just going to say, no matter what, regardless of anything else, this is what we're going to say. This is how we believe. This is what we are going to act on in this group. And one of those first things is that everyone is doing the best they can right now. Maybe the best they can looks different tomorrow. Maybe yesterday it looked different. There's some days when we do the best we can and we are like powerhouses. We get everything done. We're on it. It's awesome. And other days, it's a miracle that we get out of bed. And that's still the best you can, and that's okay. Everyone is doing the best they can right now, okay? Everyone is trying harder, right? And wants to improve their life, right? So now, that is sort of the very first stepping stone, right? There's 7 assumptions. There's a lot of things more to it than that, but that's the message that I want to kind of send home in all this, in that when you start to have doubt in your faith, when you start to have doubt in life, or things aren't going so great, right? Remember that. Remember you're doing the best you can right now, and that it's okay. Okay? And take that in and recognize that this is the tide in and out, right? And that it won't last forever. That your tide will come in later, and you'll have that energy again, and you'll be able to do the things that maybe you're thinking in your head, oh, I really want to do these things, but right now I'm not capable, right? Sometimes we just don't have it within us at that moment, right? So yeah. So I apologize. My phone is cutting out. I don't have a lot more space right now. So I am going to have to kind of cut this off. I really value all of you. And I just want you to know that you're doing the best you can. And then that's okay. So just think about that. And that's what I think about when things get rocky. And allow yourself to feel the rocky. Right? Validate those feelings. If you always push them aside, if you always say to yourself, oh, I shouldn't feel this way, right? I shouldn't be like this. Well, I'm going to tell you, you're shoulding all over yourself. Okay? So allow yourself, if you're feeling crappy, go ahead, feel a little crappy. Validate that, you know what? You're allowed to feel that way. Okay? And things do get better. Okay. So that's it for today, guys. I do have to go. It's going to cut me off again. But love to you all. Bright blessings. And as always, blessed be and aloha.